it also showed in the past days that this was a Syrian-led chain of events. No foreign power liberated the Syrians here. It was the Syrians themselves. And it's in Syrians' hands to determine how their future looks like, also how tolerant their future looks like when it comes to societal issues. And the process in Geneva of the UN is also called, in the UN resolution, a Syrian-led process. The Syrian-led component had fallen by the wayside in the past years. It was all a bargaining of different regional and powers. Now the Syrians have got it back in their hands, and the way they will deal with it and the responsibility they will show to shape their own future might be an example even for other Arab countries. And I'm sure that some dictators in the region might look to Syria also fearfully. The Assad regime was internally rotten, mafia-like corrupt, and there was very little real loyalty. So this whole system was kept together by fear. And it was a predatory arrangement of different gangs and groups, ideologically rotten, economically bad, and then Assad, he was gone for days, you know. So he was not the leader. If you compare it to Zelensky, who stayed out, you know, who was holding out, and people were looking up to him. No, not at all. So that was the internal weakness of Assad's regime. And it showed also, like in the years before, that he could only survive. He was only able to survive by the help of Hezbollah, Iran, and Russia in the end. And then we have, of course, Russia. And the news were also kind of very surprising in the past days that Russia is taking out its ships from its military base in Tartus, also personnel, high-ranking personnel. Iran has taken out, brought to security a kind of safety, their leaders of the Revolutionary Guard. So everybody was not investing into Assad anymore. And that's the new thing that has never happened in the years before. And of course, Hezbollah, and that's the third reason, was very weakened and had withdrawn from several positions also around Aleppo because of its war with Israel, following the 7th of October aggression against Israel and Israel's kind of warfare in Lebanon. So all this is kind of connected, and this led to a sudden weakening of Assad. It is, of course, a huge success for Golani to have managed this transition so far in a quite peaceful manner. If you compare it to hundreds of thousands of deaths that Assad caused with his the slaughtering and suppressing the initially peaceful upheaval in 2012, bombing hospitals, torturing people massively. I think this is a quite different story. And hopefully this will remain a relatively pragmatic and peaceful story so far. So now we will probably see negotiations. Now, I think it's crucial now to understand Syria is a society that is maybe 2/3 or a bit more Sunni, and the rest are minorities. And here we have a mosaic of different groups that traditionally for centuries have lived together peacefully. This revolution 13 years ago became militarized through the violence of the Assad regime against initially peaceful citizens who went to the street and calling for freedom. And therefore, it's now crucial that HTS, which has an Islamist background, is transforming itself with deeds and not only with words, and we have seen some deeds in the past days, into a force that can integrate also the other minorities. I think this parallel to the Taliban is a mismatch because we have seen years ago, it was still called a Nusra Front, which is now HTS, has left Al-Qaeda on the one hand. And not only this, HTS has been a year-long enemy of the Islamic State. They have fought against the Islamic State in Syria, and they have expelled them from Idlib. In Idlib, I'm not saying that HTS is a liberal democratic force at all, but in Idlib, when you compare it to Afghanistan, women can work, women are part of societal life. It is far from what's going on in Afghanistan. And now, of course, HTS has left this little pocket of Idlib and is about to govern and has to kind of balance powers within Syria. Well, we have seen actually that many Arab states were also worried. They are also worried if there is an Islamist Sunni force in Syria. Israel has been kind of on the waiting, on the fence, saying actually we are not allied with either one. They, however, can see that Iran has been significantly weakened. I think that the weakening of Iran and Hezbollah and now Syria in other hands is a major shift where one could find some common ground between Arab states, including Syria, a regional solution to the problems. But that also needs, of course, a government in Israel that plays along, also with human rights, etc. But there is a new chance to reorder the Middle East now in a regional solution and not only focus on different countries.